Good evening, I'm Jason Kesey. This statistic may shock you, but according to the 2018 statistics from the Center for Disease Control, no one died from marijuana overdose. In fact, no one has ever died from a marijuana overdose. You have a better chance of consuming a lethal amount of sugar or water than you do a lethal amount of marijuana. People drown in water. Sugar causes weight gain and diabetes. Should we make them illegal? Of course not. The idea of banning these items is ridiculous. We know that water serves a greater good as we need it to survive. However, we know that we need to be responsible when swimming or we could drown. We also know that sugar in moderation is not a bad thing. Sugar is naturally occurring in many parts of the fruits and vegetables that we eat to survive. However, too much processed sugar can lead to serious health issues. Given these examples, why should a plant that can serve far more good than bad continue to remain illegal? Tonight I would like to take a few minutes to talk to you about changing this country's badly outdated marijuana laws. For more than 80 years, the federal government has spent billions losing their war on marijuana. I'm going to attempt to convince you that there is more to this plant than simply getting high and that a change is long overdue. I will cover 3 areas of thought on why marijuana should be legalized. The first will cover the social aspect of legalization. How would legalization benefit society? Second, I will talk about the health aspects that we can all benefit from. Then finally, I will attempt to separate the rumors and truth of using marijuana. It seems almost ridiculous to think that a simple plant could actually have a major impact on society. But let's really think about what that means. Unfortunately, due to most of the states that are legal being in their infancy stage, tax revenue information is still limited. However, Colorado has been serving as the nation's guinea pig in showing how legalization can work. Last year, their excise department reported being the first state to cross the $1 billion threshold in regards to collection of marijuana taxes. With this surplus, they have already begun to give back in the form of additional school funding and expanding social programs. It is estimated that if all states in the federal government legalized marijuana, the sale and income tax revenue would approach $1 billion annually. Thousands of jobs would be generated in every field: retail, industrial, commercial, agricultural, and even scientific research would see big employment gains after legalization. But what about the police and our legal system? Police may find interest in knowing that the dangerous black market competition in the marijuana trade will start to dry up. Law enforcement would also be able to use the $500 million that they spend annually on enforcing marijuana laws and put that towards something that is a little bit more applicable. According to the American Civil Liberties Union, 600,000 people are arrested annually on simple possession charges. This continues to make up more than half of all of the other drug-related arrests in America. And often, unlike alcohol or even prescription drug abuse, when you are arrested for simple marijuana possession, you can lose your job, you can lose your ability to continue school, and you can even lose your family. If the government wanted to, they could remove your children from your home because you got arrested for marijuana possession. Think about this. You could be an alcoholic or abuse prescription pills, but because both are legal and marijuana is not, even with no claims of abuse or neglect, your custody is more at risk than the other two. How is that right or just? Now, we know we need water to survive, and to some extent we need sugar. But is it possible that our bodies are designed to accept cannabis in the same way that our bodies extract and use essential vitamins and minerals from the food we eat? Is it really a miracle plant? It may have been at one time, prior to Prohibition, and a time where medicine was limited. But modern medicine has uncovered why some do consider it to be a miracle plant. Every human has what is called an endocannabinoid system. This system provides a state of homeostasis or balance within our bodies. And up until the prohibition of cannabis, people had a steady diet of the naturally occurring cannabinoid chemical, CBD, or cannabidiol, in their meat and dairy from hemp commonly used in animal feed. CBD is the main cannabinoid compound extract found in hemp. THC, or tetrahydrocannabinol, is the chemical that gets you high, but also has many medicinal properties. Both, as well as the other 111 cannabinoids found in the cannabis plant, have shown great promise in treating many serious illnesses and conditions. These include, but are not in no way limited to, cancer, depression, AIDS, PTSD, addiction to opioids. But the biggest gains have come from the treatment of Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, and epilepsy. All three are debilitating and fatal, but cannabis has shown great promise where traditional pharmaceuticals have failed. According to researchers at Harvard Medical School, the medicines given to treat these conditions either have severe side effects or simply do not work to help treating the condition. Unfortunately, if you are in a state where marijuana is illegal, you will be committing a crime and trying to treat yourself with medical marijuana. So you may ask, why not just make it medically legal? A simple answer is that the laws are harder to develop for medical use than recreational use. There are more regulations involved versus simply making it legal across the board. Moreover, you have to find doctors that are willing to be part of the program, and many doctors do not have the choice based on the network they work for. No person should have to live in fear or start a new life in a legal state in order to get treatment that they or a family member may need. Where is the dignity in that? I spoke about how medical marijuana also helped opioid addiction for people with chronic pain. But if it helps with addiction, how can it be a gateway drug? The truth is, marijuana is an addictive substance. However, it is a psychological addiction, not a physical addiction, meaning free from the physical withdrawal you may feel from opioids, alcohol, and even nicotine. That has been the go-to propaganda for years. If you smoke pot, you will likely move on to harder drugs. Well, that is simply not true. According to a study from Northwestern University in 2015, addictive behavior comes from addictive personalities. The study boils down to the point that people with addictive issues, anything can become an addiction. It is not that marijuana made them move on to harder drugs, but anything that triggers their pleasure centers will make them chase that feeling. It may have been pills or alcohol that turned them to marijuana. Smoking pot kills brain cells. This was thought to be the case for many years. However, studies have shown that it may actually help prevent cell loss in Alzheimer's patients. Another common statement is that the government would not ban it if it were so good. It came down to money and political connections. And this continues to be the case today. In 1937, it was the lumber and papers industry concern about the ease and lower costs in which hemp paper could be produced. This was also the same time that the DuPont company developed a new fiber called nylon. The company was fearful that their product would not take off if hemp was still a viable option. The irony being, hemp was essential to the American effort in World War II, even though it was banned just 5 years prior. Hemp rope, uniforms, other necessities proved cheaper to make, more durable, and faster to produce than the non-hemp equivalent. I would also like to mention that the United States government owns several patents related to the cannabis plant. Today, the concern lies within the billion-dollar healthcare industry. Because of the miracle plant status marijuana has received, pharmaceutical companies think that they will lose millions when people begin to self-medicate rather than use their special new pill. The government backed those industries then, and they're doing the same thing today. This is the main reason that the DEA, or Drug Enforcement Agency, keeps marijuana in the same classification as heroin. This classification makes it very difficult, almost impossible, for medical researchers to do any work on the medical benefits of marijuana. This also gives these drug companies time to develop a synthetic version that they can profit off of. At this point, you may be wondering, with all the positive aspects about marijuana I am talking about, Am I really trying to imply that there are no negatives using it? I am not, and there are. In rare cases of constant chronic use, some develop what's called cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, a treatable condition that causes digestive tract issues, though dangerous if ignored. You can also have what's called a bad high. If you consume too much too fast, you feel like you had way too much to drink. You can become dizzy, nauseous, get a pounding headache, increased heart rate, paranoia, and even pass out. These are the conditions that send some people to the hospital after marijuana use. It is simply one of those things that you have to wait out, and it's not fatable or treatable. It is just like anything else. You may not like it, and it just may not agree with you. As a responsible adult, you should be allowed to make decisions for yourself in the same way that you choose whether or not to enjoy that beer. In a country that claims to offer individual freedom, going to jail over a plant seems to be the opposite of that. But yes, rumors are true. Getting high makes many who use it generally feel better. It can help you with your aches and pains, stress and anxiety, even depression. It's a sensory stimulation. You might think music sounds better, a painting looks prettier, and yes, food tastes better. But as a responsible adult, it should be treated like alcohol, and you should not get behind the wheel. This is not to say that everyone should do it, but it is to say that there is no solid evidence or actual reasoning that this plant should remain illegal. If you consider the tax revenue that the government would collect and the ease it would offer on our overcrowded jails, along with when you weigh the potential health benefits involved with marijuana, it makes even more sense to legalize. Our government has always had motives and personal interest in not legalizing marijuana by supporting the interests of big business. It will eventually come down to the voice of the people. You may have no interest in using it yourself. Perhaps you think you don't even know anybody that uses it. But consider the idea that more than half of the adult population admitting to using marijuana recreationally more than once. So it's not that you do not know anyone that uses marijuana, it's that you do not know they use marijuana. Odds are there's more to their reasoning than just getting high. Thank you.